Welcome everyone to another Educators in VR workshop. My name is Laurel Van Fossen. I am the Director of Educators in VR, and we host over 800 VR educational events, workshop classes, you name it, in VR. We skip the whole online conferencing and bring people right into VR for a really immersive experience. And I'm so excited today that we have Dominique Wu, who is just literally, when I say just published, like last week, kind of just published. While we were working on this, she's still editing the book, but Dominique has just published a new book called uh, Two, Spatial Design, Breaking the 2D Paradigm. And I'm so excited to have her as a guest here. And I want to tell you a little bit about her before she dives in, and be ready with your questions. If you have anything that's really imperative, during, you can ask, just unmute and kind of interrupt us, or you can save it till we're done. But we're ready to talk about this amazing concept of spatial design and some of the standards and the great discoveries that she's learned by talking to these incredible experts, which I'm proud to have been one. Thank you very much. So Dominique Wu is a seasoned professional in spatial design, specializing in crafting user-centered spatial interfaces in AR and VR and XR. And gaming, etc. But especially part of your early claim to fame was in the AR market, ahead of so many people. Your work was just incredible. She's done user research and testing in the 3D environments, and has worked for Meta and Facebook, and also is the driving force behind Hummingbird's Day Design Studio and XReality Pro, and has an amazing community that she's built with XReality Pro. Reality. Oh, I'm saying it wrong. Sorry, my mother was in real estate for too long. XReality Pro. So XReality Pro. There, I'm going to say it right. XReality Pro. And she and her team deliver innovative spatial design solutions across a broad range of sectors, and is heading into the med health industry with some new projects coming up that hopefully she'll share a little bit. She's spoken at AWE at all kinds of conferences and academics, and also as a teacher at I'm not sure how to, Canada would be the
Cañada,
normal.
Cañada,
Cañada College
Cañada. Yeah, yeah.
Cañada College in California, and is seriously one of the industry leaders in this area. So I'm so privileged to have her share her tips and techniques and the lessons learned from writing her book and doing all this. So Dominique, all you.
Hi, thank you so much for L'Oreal for those very kind words about my book and myself. And thank you so much. And hi, everyone. My name is Dominique Wu. I'm the founder of XReality Pro and also Adjunct Professor at Cañada College. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 spatial design principles. In my just released on Saturday, 3 days ago. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Yeah. So I would love to share with you what my findings and also the interviews with 38 XR industry leaders. Okay, so let's dive in. Next one. Yeah. So in this book, I believe you know a lot of it, a lot of the XR industry leaders. I have one-on-one interviews with every of them to come up with some ideas for the 10 spatial design principles, and also combined with my previous notes. And also in this book, I also include the spatial design tool pipelines, and also um, kind of the advice for young generation, like a college student, how can they break into the spatial design industry? So those are the industry leaders who contribute in this book. Next one.
Okay, just to let you know, if you can't see the slide, please open up your menu and you just go into the web and you can see right there on your tablet to see up close.
Oh,
So Richard, you're standing in front of the filmer. So just letting you know, we have an invisible film person in here, and I want to make sure that we keep the video. Thank you. Just, yeah, you can look at it right on your tablet. Thank you. All right.
cool. Yeah, so each principles, I dive into why, what, and how, because it's very important to understand why this principle is important and what is this principle about and how to achieve or how to design to meet these principles. So it's a top down research, and also for button up at the end of each principles and all the examples, I put a list of building blocks for you to create your own unique language or your own unique app. So yeah, so this is the structure of each principles from top down and from bottom up. So you can build your own unique language. Next. So what is spatial design? Well, spatial design is um, both for both AI and XR. So it not only designed for human interactions, interfaces in virtual world, but also mingle with the real world. So the interaction and for the interface need to understand both the human side, virtual side, 3D spatial side, and also the reality. So yeah, so this is the spatial design. It's include a lot. Okay, next one. So here are the 10 spatial design principles. I will go over each principles using like a more overview, and all the details are inside the book. Okay, next one. So the first one is engage. We are now in engage XR, so this is perfect. So engage. Engage means the user achieves the state of flow so they can concentrate on each task or event that the designer or the developer intend to give to the user to experience. One of the very uh, good example for engage is from Gumbo Dreams. Gumbo Dream is a live performing theater inside VR chat, and the player are allowed to explore the world under the guidance of actor and actress. So because every player you encounter are played by real humans, so all the interactions are very authentic and customized, personalized. So this allows the player to have meaningful, engaging conversations with the characters inside the live performing theater. Next one. So, for example, in this image was a screenshot from the Gumbo Dreams. So if you see the AI bot actually was played by one of the actresses. She was onboarding for those players to get into the live performing theater. So imagine there's a robot, but actually it's not AI robot. It's a real human. Guess what? Everybody has a very customized, interesting conversation with the bot. And everyone was so engaging in the conversation and engaging with the entire play storytelling. So it also allows us to kind of open our heart and immerse ourselves inside the theater. So, Gumbo Dreams is a great example for storytelling, immersive design, and also every task inside the Gumbo Dreams are interactive. So it achieves the engage. Okay, next one, innovate. The second principle is innovate. Everyone, when jumping to the spatial computing or jumping to XR, they expect to see things that they haven't seen before. They expect things to be creative and innovate. For example, Cubism. Cubism is one of the very innovative game that I played. The developer Thomas has an architecture background. When he developed this game, he quickly do a rapid prototype in 1 to 2 days and quickly record videos and upload to the social media for validation. After everybody say, wow, this is amazing, and he start developing it. And every couple of days, he keep sharing on the social media and get marketing proof. And at the end, when he launched the game, not only it's already get a huge a huge audience following the work, but also it's market proof innovate, and also the accessibility was being approved. So this is one of the best way to create an innovative XR product is to get market approve or share with the user, get users feedback, and also because he has architecture background, so he also bring the architecture into the game. So you see those are block buildings, even though it's very simple, but it's also can come up with a complicated composition. So this is a great way to create innovative app. Next one. The other example is Ruth Diaz' monster building room. Ruth Diaz is a creator in Horizon Worlds. She created a monster building room in Horizon Worlds. So it allows the player to jump into the room and start creating his or her own monster freely. So you see there are a lot of accessories placed on the wall. The player can grab the accessories and to freely jump beyond the gravity limitation, jump very high and start making a super giant monster. This is the monster that we build together in the monster building room. So for innovate, you can what you can do is you can do rapid prototyping and get feedback from the users and also learn from everyday life. Bring different backgrounds or different subject, different field into XR. For example, Ruth, her background is psychology. So she do it just for people to release. As sometimes when people feel sad, depressed, is one of the reasons because their innovative or creativity was not being let out. So by doing so, she successfully mingle psychology and also XR together. Next one, diversity. The other principle is diversity. So when design for spatial computing or for XR, it's very important to design for everyone under different scenarios. For example, Chris McNally was born with low vision. If you see the top image, when he sees the world, everything is monotone with pixelate images, video style things. And also in the middle of his vision there's a big black donuts blocking the majority of his vision. So he came up with a solution which is combine AI and XR. So the button image, you can see he changed the contrast on the AR glass device, hand-mounted device, and also using AI for integrate with the XR device for him to navigate through his kitchen. For example, by computer vision, he was able to understand, or his device was able to understand the situation of the environment. For example, if sometimes when he walk, he will hear the AI reminder tell him that There's a basket in front of you on the floor, 1 feet. So don't tumble it. So those reminders really help him to navigate through the world with the low vision. Next one. So in Microsoft Persona Spectrum, there are three scenarios for disabilities: permanent, temporary, and situational. For example, a mom with a newborn baby might be under situational disability. She might lose her sense of touch, but after a while, her sense of touch will go back. So by designing for disability, thinking about how to let people with disability to access. You cover the wild spectrum of every user under every scenarios. So it's very important to design for accessibility, inclusion, and also different uh, uh, for diverse representation. And all the details of each patterns and each principles will be in the book. Next one, context. One of the principle is context. So when designer creating the XR world or interaction, it's very important to understand the environment, the user, and also the content. For example, for Clash of Chef in this game, players are being placed in restaurants where they will be told in real world scenarios how to make food, different types of food. And by doing so, they learn the real world way of being trained as a chef. So this is a great way to show context. Without context, words and actions have no meaning at all. So it's a great way to, especially for simulation and training, context for designers to understand the overall content, context, environment, user, all the overall content is very, very important. Next one. And also, since in spatial computing or in XR, we will be immerse ourselves in 3D world. So by doing so, that instead of using 2D traditional, uh, uh, like a tablet, phone, PC UI using cursor, menu, icon, buttons, we use a 3D object instead. And instead of using controller, we use our hands, eyes, and voice command. For example, Pillow. Pillow is a great breaking through games that if you dive into the game, there's nearly no 2D buttons or panels for you to click around. It's 3D tangible object for you to grab and slot in. So this is a great way to break the 2D paradigm into a 3D space. So Screwfism, if you don't know what Screwfism means, imagine a long time ago before computer was invented, when people are working on data, they open a drawer and there are a lot of data folders. Now when you see your PC, there are a lot of folders. So that folder icon means the drawer that people use to open and physical icon. So Screwfism is a metaphor for the content to transfer from different forms. So instead, in Pillow, instead of a 2D button with text, the developer, Lucas, use the grab, drag and drop, and slot in. And also, instead of using GUI, we use NUI. And instead of 2D buttons, we start using 3D objects. Next one. And there's another principle, connect. So, as for spatial designer, it's very important to connect people together. In the past, VR experience was isolated, but now with spatial computing, you can see the reality, and Apple Vision Pro also has the eye registration, so people around you can see your eyes. So connect is also an important principles inside spatial design. In Meta's long-term vision, if you see this picture, Meta wants to connect people from different places and doing things together. Okay, next one. Also, not only for connect, not only connect from virtual and real world, but also connect people through different platforms such as phone, PC, headset, whenever, whatever your headset or your device is, you can people can get together virtually, like right now, what we are doing right now, and also connect with subject matter experts to work together in the project. In those images, Nano is molecular engineering XR platform for subject matter experts to work together. So for connect, it's not only connect between physical virtual world, connect different platforms, and also connect people from different backgrounds to work together. Next one, comfort. One of the principle and also the largest principle inside my book is comfort. The role for a designer is to create space for human comfort. In this example, Arwa was a MIT Media Lab student. She went back to Africa and tried to put Oculus Go headset um, onto Africa woman, but she found out that the majority of Africa woman's hair was larger than average people. So that's why she had trouble to put the headset on the Africa woman's head. So that's why she invent a new head strap to tailors to especially for Africa women to create comfort for them. So in this case, if people couldn't even put headset comfortably on their head, how can they even enjoy or how can they even engage uh, the content you create? So it's very important to create a comfortable experience for the for your user. Next one. Yeah, not only for the headset and software comfort, but also there are a lot of comfort best practice inside the book. One of it is motion comfort. There are a lot of people got motion sickness when they are in VR or XR, but I think Coco VR has a very innovative, I would say, interesting way to solve the moving problem. When the player get into the moving card, they can see through a window. And because that window, that frame, it separates the player from outside movement and inside. So you don't feel any motion sickness because of the vehicle. For example, if you sit on vehicle, you look at outside, your brain will automatically recognize inside and outside and will prevent you from motion sickness. So this is also another best practice to create comfort. Next one. I hope those principles can help you to add some values for your product. And the other one is reduce, less is more. For designers, Simplify the user interface will help your users to navigate through the the world, not only virtual world, but also the blending between virtual and reality. So Vision Pro get rid of controller. So you don't have to remember which controller is home controller, which one is A, which one is X. So this is very, very intuitive. So by using eye, hand, and also voice command, it is very intuitive and allows users to just jump in and start using it without even learn it. Next one. Yeah. So, for example, instead of typing on your keyboard, you use your hand directly typing. Um, it will be much more intuitive than using controller and ray shooting and press the button. It also reduces the cognitive load. Next one, please. The other principle is personalized. For a designer, it's very important to design interface for our users according to their preference and needs. According to Roblox research, Gen Alpha cares about their virtual appearance than their physical looks. So that's why if you want to design for younger generation, make sure you have a lot of choice for them to decorate themselves, because if you want to make an immersive environment that younger generation cares or people cares, it might be better to create an avatar that look like themselves or express themselves. Next one. For example, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, there are a lot of personalization settings in different game or apps. For example, Engage XR, there are a lot of personalized settings. In Resident Evil 4, you can choose whether you sit, standing, and also whether you are using left hand, right hand. There are tons of personalized settings. Those will help the user to um, customize, do things better, and then have a better experience, interact inside the app. Next one, please. Yeah, the other principle is called evaluate. If you can measure it, you can improve it. So for these principles, it's best used for training and simulation, job simulation. For example, like a Beat Saber, when the player um, hit it right on the block, it will show up the visual cue, visual feedback, audio feedback. There's a sound that makes you know it's right. And also your score increase. It also indicate it's a right move. And your controller will start vibrate. So you can get all the feedback of you are doing something right. So this is more like a very short-term feedback. Next one. For the long-term, one will be performance and assessment. For example, in Supernatural VR, after each fitness session finish, you will see your score, how well you perform. Those will be the long-term performance that tells you how you can bridge your gap and how you can perform better next time. So there's a short-term feedback and also long-term performance and assessment, how you can do better. Next one. This is the last one, but last but not least, safety. Safety is very, very important in spatial design, especially all the technology, all the headsets get a lot of information from our users. For example, like optical ID, your movement, your room, everything around you will be inside your headset what if you keep using it. So make sure that a sport designer make sure we secure our users. We secure by making them feel safe in the environment, physical safe, and taking care of mental safe. For example, there are a lot of harassment in metaverse or digital world. How can we help them? Um, in Meta, for example, uh, in Horizon Worlds, it has the personal guidance to prevent people getting to the personal space and creating uncomfortable experience. Next one, please. So, in order to protect teams, there is also parental control to help teams under parents' guidance. So, for safety, it's very important to create physical safety, for example, like boundaries, psychological safety, for example, like personal space or some emergency settings to prevent harassment, and also privacy to do data secure to ensure people are in the safe and feel like a secure inside the world you create. Okay, next one. So I hope those principles can provide you value to your work. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was amazing that you consolidated those right down. That was beautiful. Everyone, quick round of applause and let's get some Q&A.
Thank you.
We're having some fun with the slides. Hang on.
No worries. Yeah.
Okay, that was odd. All right. Um, so let's take some questions. And I want to get started. You've covered some amazing different things on how we can break this 2D flat perspective of design development and really take it into the 3D. And from your experience with AR, and AR glasses are now coming up all over the place, and I love the accessibility example you gave. I'm really curious as to see what do you see as the biggest challenge in getting businesses and advertisers to really embrace AR? What is holding them back from really diving in? Is it just the hardware?
Yeah, I think Amy Lemaire, during the interview, she mentioned that 3Cs will improve the headset to sell. Also, it also applies to design principles as well. 3C, comfort, content, and cost. So if
Mm,
we see comfort, the headset is not comfortable, right? Content, there are not many contents out there that is comfortable. I just recently heard my friend said that Vision Pro, when she jumped in and tried the apps, a lot of apps are not comfortable. They are directly from iOS 2D phone or
mm.
Mac, directly import in. So it's not the best experience. So content is not enough, and it's not necessary for people to jump in and start using it. And at the end, it's cost. You see, Apple Vision Pro is 3,500.
Yeah.
And if you buy it, you couldn't really do anything besides filming videos to post online and get a lot of likes and return. So that's why I think, yeah, so 3Cs, if we can focus, improve those 3Cs. And this book is addressed more about the comfort side and also content side, because if you
Hmm.
can create a comfortable experience and everybody can create more content. So yeah, so this is what I think.
So
3Cs.
comfort,
Yeah.
comfort, comfort, content, and cost. Great. The
Yes.
three C's. I love it. All right. Wait, Bruce was waving his hand first. So Bruce, you want to unmute? And Mitch, you're next.
Cool. How do you think spatial design is going to change with things like Apple Vision Pro that doesn't contain any controllers for movement around and is just solely focused on gaze and pinch? Because obviously, kind of looking at all of the makeup of people here, that they're either on PC, kind of tablet, or kind of a Pico or Quest headset, which has controllers to move around. Do you think that the kind of the gaze and kind of move is going to end up having to change kind of the way that you end up spatially designing kind of environments?
I
Great
think,
question.
yeah, I
Mm.
think for Quest 3 and Apple Vision Pro are starting in a different mind setting. For Quest 3, it was from Quest 2, and everybody is getting used to VR, right? Because Quest 2 is from VR and Quest 3 is mixed reality headset. So when we use Quest 3, there's boundaries. Why boundaries? Because they assume you are in VR space and they are afraid you are bumping into the real world. So there's a boundary to prevent you get hurt. So it's VR based.
True.
As for
Hmm.
Vision Pro, when you wear it, is spatial computing. You see the real world. I tried Vision Pro 3 times in Apple's headquarters, and one time I asked the developer there. I said, "Why you don't have boundaries? Why you see like a Quest 3 has a boundary? Why you don't have boundary?" And the developer just told me, "Hey, you've already see the real world. If you bump into the chair, that's your problem." So,
Oh, okay.
so that's why for your question, um, it's not meant to be developed in a VR game setting. So it's meant to be you see the real world and post overlay on top of it. It's the base setting. So if you want to walk around, you can wear Vision Pro and walk around the street and go back, and things will anchoring the way it is. For example, your thing, your UI will be on your wall. Anything will be anchored correctly in the place. So it's not meant to do a virtual reality, but it's spatial. So you can walk around with it. So you probably need to use your leg to walk instead of teleporting. Yeah, go ahead.
Do
Sorry.
you, sorry, do you think then, because a lot of people have said that the way that kind of people like kind of Meta and Apple have kind of come at it in two different ways. Meta have kind of focused on kind of immersion and VR to start off with, where Apple has come from a position of kind of 2D into kind of like the virtual reality world. So
Mm.
where it's kind of like I haven't tried the Vision Pro, but the thing is, it's in essence a glorified monitor where you can end up having for productivity and multiple screens, which are all flat. Whereas, and kind of a focus on kind of the viewing of movies and content side there. Whereas you end up looking at Meta, and Meta is about the social engagement and kind of the virtual reality world. So, does that create a spatial design like conflict between kind of the ways that people are creating kind of headsets and purpose?
I think a Vision Pro is still in the baby infant state. It's just the first headset. Imagine your iPhone 1 just released. You only can see the web browser. There's no app in it. And developers see the opportunity. Probably around iPhone 4, apps start coming out. So same as Vision Pro. When we see it, because they haven't created their vision. So if you watch the if you go to the official website, also I kind of put inside my book, it has all the collaborative vision in their videos. So they want to collaborate working together, and they want 3D. They want, so that's why they get rid of the controller. Right now when we see 2D, it's because that's part of their baby step. When we see Meta, it starts from game, from Oculus Rift, from Pullman Lucky for games. So it's 3D, it's intuitive, and it's already have how many? 600 apps, immersive, and
Plus,
tailored
yeah.
to Quest. Yeah, so the content is already a lot. So we are trying to match the baby step of Vision Pro to the, I would say, teenager step of Quest. As far as I know, I talked to I had the same complaint about like a Vision Pro to Apple developer. I said, hey, what's the point? It's all 2D, and why I just don't why I can just use my 2D flat Mac. I've already inside has said why there's an interface issue be immersed, and they say, come on, give us a break. This is our first headset. Imagine this. They just keep saying that. So I understand that
Mm,
at this moment, we are comparing, like we want this to be immersive. We want to for them to jump into directly using hand. Everything is so intuitive. But the thing about it is that it's not. It takes time, and we need to be patient about it. So I would say um, for you right now to see all the 2D stuff, probably after 5 years, when you look back, it might all change. They have the vision, which is aligned with the book. Everything is so intuitive. And I can tell you, I talked to somebody that is in a big company. And yeah, I was trying to, before I was trying to put a tutorial how to use the device in one of the principal. But that person told me, hey, don't put tutorial for your principals because in the future, all the device will be so intuitive that you don't even need to learn how to use it. So take that out. Put the tutorial under, um, put it under reduce section. So in that case, we are still seeing the baby infant stage of each device and they need time to grow. So I understand your frustration and I'm frustration too. So maybe give the baby some time for the baby to grow.
indeed.
They,
Thank you.
they are trying, but they are
Yeah.
not there yet.
Mitch, you were next. You're muted,
Sorry,
Mitch. There you go. Hmm.
myself there. Um, so I got a question because you obviously done a lot of research here, Dominic, to put this
Mm,
together. And I look around the room and I see a few other kindred spirits here, people who've probably done similar, but not as in depth research. But one of the things I quite often do is look at all the different platforms and think to myself, how easy is this for someone like a student or a teacher to pick it up and to begin to create their own virtual worlds? And then the secondary thought I have is, how are they going to avoid those um, design mistakes like you have just illuminated on here? And I wondered, in your research, have you found any of the platforms that are sort of uh, alerting people when they're making an obvious design, a spatial design mistake? Or have you seen
Oh,
anything sort of leading to that? The idea that you can easily create a world, but then something about the platform tells you, well, this is not such a good idea because you're going to make the user feel sick or you're going to make the user feel uncomfortable.
yeah, during the interview, I was sharing my kind of like a vision about this book. I would say a few months ago, I interviewed with Lee. He's one of the very the leading position in the XR spatial computing and also XR. I asked him. He said that there's no principles. I was like, actually, there are. So, because you are in the master position, you probably don't see whatever you are get familiar with. You probably kind of because you are too high level. So for people in his level, he kind of feel like, oh, there's no
mm,
principles. But I do try. I trying to put down all the stuff and just echoing what you say. Um, yeah, a lot of platforms will tell you this is right, this is wrong. And he argued back to me. He said, in Vive, he was trying to push an app to Vive, HTC Vive. And then there's a setting that don't shake or don't move your camera crazily because the user will get sick. However, he said Gorilla Tag is one of the most successful games, and it moved the camera crazy. So it pretty much break the rules. But why it is so popular? Because you see the rules it fits the engagement. All the kids play guerrilla tag, having fun, even though the camera shake crazily. So that's why I put this as a building block for you. You can take things out if you want to fit the engagement. Maybe the camera will shake crazy. And he said all the principles need to be validated by the market, which means the user. If the user likes it, it's a good principle. So we probably, after learning it, I have another in the book. I wrote once we learn all the principles, we need to use it as a master, right? And then we can break it. We learn it and we break it. So just like you said, there are a lot of things do or don't do on the average. But if you can break it, you will create something very innovative. The other example is that I remember when I become a consultant at Walmart building metaverse. One of the manager asked me, I want to create a world where the user experience is perfect. And I told him that, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because if you go to Horizon Worlds, the user experience is actually pretty good. It has all the, for example, like all the settings to prevent you to whatever you can think of, it kind of has it. But why nobody goes to it? It's very boring. So that's why I put engage, innovate as one and two principles, right? It's very interesting. I also give him the example. For example, Coachella versus nursing home, right? Nursing home has the best bed, best access, most comfortable chair, most comfortable bed, and everything in the hospital or everything in the nursing home should be very comfortable. But why people trying to go to Coachella or trying to go to Burning Man, that the experience is not comfortable, but people are coming there as something to celebrate. Maybe for human or for people in VR for XR, maybe something is worth trying. Something like the principle one and two, which is engaging and innovate. Maybe people wants to seek for something new, something fresh, and those needs are overcome with comfortable. So that's
Well,
my thought. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I love it. Well, the famous American composer Philip Glass, who is an expert in the most unusual rule-breaking things, he speaks often about how important it was for him to learn the rules and the standards first, because then he would know how to break them. It's all great to be a rule breaker, but if you don't know the rules, you're not breaking the rules. You're just making stuff up. And I thought that was really, and so the standards are really important, and there are standards. And let's not forget, just as a reminder, VR came out of the web, which came out of web standards, and those standards and practices that apply to the web that have been around for like 30 years also apply in VR. So, there's saying that there aren't any is kind of silly, but I'm so glad you have summed yours up, Dominique, to be really clear and applicable directly to spatial design beyond just virtual world building. So I love that. All right, next question. And we only have a few minutes left because we're heading into another event right after this, our Lunar New Year's celebration. Question, just unmute and shout or wave your hand around or jump. Jim, did you have a question? Okay. Jim. Uh-oh, missing audio. Oh dear. All right, we can't hear you, Jim.
Hi.
Let's double check that audio. Could you hear him?
You okay, Jim?
It's an
Yeah.
audio fiddle day. All right. You can also
well-
ask your question of Dominique in our Discord too. Steph?
Well, I was just going to say, coming away from this, what is totally different about spatial design? Something that we can't necessarily have a rule for because it hasn't really been invented yet.
Oh,
Yes,
Dominique?
I think for all the roles, it will involve with the technology. And recently, I interviewed Terry, the T-Mobile Terry. He said that in the future, the software development will be disposable. Whatever comes to your mind, to your mouth, and it will show up immediately. So I would say that then how can we even document those? And he said that so that's why being keep up to date is very important. What I want to convey the idea is that, yeah, just like you say, it's still evolving. And a few days ago, I saw OpenAI you can create the video that understand the world. It's pretty much generative AI. So, and some people even discuss maybe this types of text to video game, which will skip Unreal and Unity, which everybody is working on it. So this is types of things is like technologies keep evolving. And I don't even know, like maybe in the future nobody will have a job. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg will have one button. The entire Meta company is only Zuck and a huge computer and one button, right? So yeah, so so for your question, I do everything I can do according to the knowledge and according to the reports that I can read, the visions that I can read. I believe this book probably, as you see, OpenAI is trying to raise few trillions of dollars to try to create its own chips. So maybe in the future, I don't really know what future will be, but I think I do whatever I can do right now. And the spatial design principles is something for the designers break from, the
Mm,
iPhone, 2D iPhone, the from GUI. If you see GUI, if you kind of understand the kind of like the how UX designer to do the
mm,
research, they need to start with gathering stuff and start doing, I would say, the kind of wireframe and also um, like a lot of like research and also mapping out frame by frame, windows by windows, and menus. There are a lot of hierarchies under it. So if
yeah,
you see, if you see all the apps that I show you, it's more like a grab and put, not really get into more like the traditional way of structuring an app. And it's very intuitive. For example, like
mm,
there's like a AI assistant, right? You can ask it. So right now I'm teaching like a kids to learn how to code. The kids first class just say, oh, I want to ask ChatGPT to write something for me, which was not normal when I was learning things. When I was learning things, I like to get textbook, page by page, chapter by chapter, linear of learning. But right now, all the information are overflowed. So the way of interact things is not,
yeah.
like a
It's
linear
not
anymore.
linear any longer. It won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's good and also not so good because kids nowadays cannot read and everybody has ADD and couldn't focus on anything.
Oh,
Yes. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, are you going to be able to hang around for a few minutes and let people come down and
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
you more direct questions and things? I
yeah,
hate
yeah, sure.
wrapping this up because I have 1,000 questions myself, but I want to let people know that you can find Dominique Wu's new book, Spatial Design and Breaking the 2D Paradigm, on Amazon.com and also on our site at XReality Pro. And we also have information on it it's in our Discord, and I'll be putting up some photographs from this event and stuff coming up. And so, Dominique, thank you so much. This was incredibly
mm.
insightful. You are amazing. You are a pioneer yourself in all of this, and we so appreciate you taking the time to do this. And everyone else, come join us in literally just a couple minutes. We're going to be here in Engage for our Lunar New Year celebration with our virtual schooling and multicultural teams. So do not miss that. When you're done here, head on over and join us. So Dominique, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. And I will see you virtually maybe on LinkedIn or on
Yay.
Discord. Yeah,
All
thank
right, we
you.
will share all of that
Thank you,
information.
Dominique.
Thank you,
Very
everyone.
interesting.
Thanks.
Thank you
Very
very
Thank you.
much. Thank